Hi, my name is Andrew and I am indie game developer and creator of the game Druid, Test of Faith. And today I would like to show you how to animate a character in Unity. Together we will create and animate this one funky goblin. So, hope you're ready and let's get started. Here is scene from my game by name Master House, and here we will create and test our goblin. So, first of all we need to create an empty game object. Right-click on Hierarchy and create Empty. Let's name it Goblin and hit Enter. Now we need to create an animator component, but since it's my real game project, I'd like to first create a special folder for it. Let's hit Project tab, right-click Assets, and then Create Folder. I'll call it YouTube Education. Now let's create another folder in this one and call it Goblin Animator. Now we can click at our Goblin game object and then Animation tab. If for some reason you do not have this tab, you need to click Window, then Animation, and then Animation tab, or just Ctrl 6. Now let's hit Create and create our first animator and animation controller. Please notice that it's a good manner to have a separate folder for each animation set. Now we can drag our animation sprites to Animation tab. I have already made few animations for my goblin. This program name is Toon Boom Harmony and it is extremely powerful for animation. I've already exported all necessary sprites to Unity. Now let's drag our animation window slightly above. Then select all our idle animation sprites and drag them to Animation tab. This blue bar is our animation. Let's stretch it up to 1 second. Since it's a real game scene and have many layers, we currently can't see our goblin. To fix this issue, let's change our sorting layer to foreground. But for some reason we still cannot see our goblin. This happening because our animator do not provide us any sprites by default. And to see our goblin without launching animation, we need to attach a sprite to it. Right now goblin looks too big, let's scale it down a bit. Now let's move it a little bit down to the ground and play our animation. Great, now our goblin have idle animation. Let's add a few more. To do it, we need to open Animator window. Please notice what to see. Our animator and animation, we need to select our goblin game object. As you can see now, our animator have only one animation clip. To add a new one, we need to click inside our animation tab to animation name. Right now it says Goblin Animator. Afterward click Create New Clip. Let's create a few more clips for each animation my goblin have. Attack, Def, Run, and Take Damage. And now let's sort it a bit to look nice. Now let's open every our animation and add sprites there. Distance between sprites represents frame rate, how many time it takes to change one sprite to another. As you can see, I'm stretching up my animations because I need to increase time between frames. After filling all animation clips, we can check how it looks in our game. For it, we need to select our Scene or Game tab, then select the current animation we wish to look at, and press Play button in Animation tab. Let's check all our animations one by one. As you can see right now, my def animation happens too fast. For that reason, let's slightly expand time it takes. Now everything works fine and we can check our last animation. Splendid! I'm totally satisfied. Okay, next thing we need to do is to make our character to interact with environment. For that purpose, we need to add some parameters for which we will control our character. First one will be bool variable grounded. It checks is our goblin stand on ground or not. Second one will be float variable speed. Through this variable we will control our run animation. The third one variable is a vertical speed. Through this one we can control is our goblin jumping or falling. The fourth variable I've named is attacking. It will control our goblin attack animation. The fifth one is dead, and this one responds for death animation. And finally, last one bool variable, take damage. I guess there is no reason to tell you what it responds for. Now let's take a deep breath. We have only one place with settings to finish, and that calls animated transitions. See with orange arrow, it's our transition by default. That means that when our game object with animator will be loaded, the animator will play animation by default. Now let's create our first transition. Inside our Animator tab, right-click to any state and hit Make Transition and drag it to Def Animation Sample. Now we need to select white arrow we just created. In the Expector section at right, we need to check Has Exit Time and set Exit Time to 0. Next we need to set Transition Duration to 0. Afterward, uncheck 3 checkboxes. Fixed Duration, Can Transition to Self and Has Exit Time. Now we need to move down to Conditions. In this section, we need to set a variable for which condition we will control transition state. For this animation, this bool variable is dead, with condition true. Now let's add all rest transitions. Take damage and attack. Now we need to make transitions from attack and take damage animation to idle animation. As you can see, both of these transitions do not have any condition, because transitions will play right after take damage or attack animation will be finished. Cool, last two transitions will lead us to run animation and back to idle. As you can see in our condition state, we use our float variable speed to control the animation state, and if this variable is greater than 0.2, when we must start running. Now we need to make our last transition from run to idle animation. But for this backward animation, we need to set our speed variable as less than 0.1. If now we will hit play, we will see that nothing happens except idle animation. That's happening because we need to set all our variables through code to control animations and transitions. Let me explain you basics about controlling parameters in Unity. For that purpose, I will create new C# file and call it tests. Now let's open this up in JetBrains Rider and create and add new field. Private, animator, animator. Now in start method, let's define our new field. Animator equals getComponent animator. Now through this field we can control all our goblin parameters. Now in our update function, let's write animator set float speed 1f. F in the end means it is a float value. Cool, now let's attach our script to Goblin Game Object. To do it, let's select our Goblin Game Object and drag our just created C# script to Inspector tab. Now let's hit play and look what has changed. As you can see, Goblin starts running. Now let's open Animator window and look what's happening. As you can see, run animation is running and speed parameter is equals to 1. Now let's briefly look how to set last 3 parameter types. First one is animator set bool with its value. The second one is animator set integer and its value. And third one set trigger. That's it about parameter controlling, and right now I will add to our Goblin special controller I've designed and explain you how it works. Right now you can see my character starts script with take damage method. When one character hits another, this method triggers. And right below if statement which checking if it hit a wall or not, we need to write getComponent animator set bool take damage Druid. Now when our goblin will take damage, it will change the bool in animator and animator will change its state to take damage animation. There is one extremely important thing I must notice about this script. For each anime inside animator I use same variable names. This tiny trick allows me to control all base animation states only via one script. If you would like to know more about combat system and how it works, leave the comment below. Now we need to set our take damage variable back to false. There are 2 ways to do it. One, to copy this line, set it at the end of method, and change value from true to false. But there is another trick which I prefer. You need to create this one script and add it to your Unity project. This script will trigger at the end of animation and will change the given bool value to false. To make it work, we need to select our animation and hit button Add Behavior. Then add a script, add param behavior, and change the parameter field to the name of the variable we wish to set false. Now we can check how our script works. Let's hit play on game and manually check take damage box. As you can see, the take damage animation plays fine, and take damage checkbox automatically uncheck itself at the end of animation. As you can see right now, Goblin is moving side by side. This happens because I've added special patrolling script to it. If you would like to know how it works, leave the comment below. Now I need to show you where and how I set speed values to control the run animation. It happens inside enemy motion controller script. As you can see, there are two main methods in it: calculate velocity and load data to animator. To explain you where I'm taken from the grounded variable, I need to show you my gameplay with gizmos turned on. Right now you can see the bunch of red lines facing below Goblin. When these red lines get deep underground, motion controller understands what character stands on it, and setting bool variable grounded to true. The last one, speed float, is pretty simple to get. All we need to do is multiply our enemy speed with its velocity. So, since we are done with variables, now we can hit play and check how our animation works. As you can see, everything works fine. Now our Goblin can move, attack, die and take damage. If you're wondering where I take inspiration for my game, you can see this video. I've collected for you few landscapes from my journeys. And please don't forget to subscribe, it's extremely important for me. So, that's it for this video, I hope you like it, and see you in the next video.